And of course, when Prince Charles wrote his famous book, The Old Man of Loftnagar, he was actually talking about a bloke who used to hang around this Indian brasserie. Morning folks, welcome to day 7 of our epic tour. Actually welcome to a rather hungover morning of day 7. Last night went a bit wild, had one IPA too many. I think got overexcited when the entertainer came on the floor, but anyway, it was a good night. In fact, the entertainment last night made up for a rather dismal meal, it has to be said. So behind me you see the Dornoch Hotel, which was interesting. So today we're off to the Cairngorms, about 2.5 hour ride. It should take us about 3 or 4 hours, we'll take a few stops. Yeah, the rain's stopped for the moment and the weather looks like we might get away without being rained on today, if we're lucky. But it's just so beautiful and peaceful up here. See, behind me we've got the Dornoch Golf Course. So that's it, we will tune in later on. Catch you later. Our route today was going to take us through Inverness and the Cairngorms to the little town of Ballater. Inverness is a Gaelic word meaning mouth of the River Ness. The Ness is a river which flows out of Loch Ness, famous of course for the monster. It's the largest city and the cultural capital of the Scottish Highlands. Sadly, couldn't find an obvious place to stop for a coffee, so we decided we'd carry on riding through Inverness and find a place outside of the town. Luckily, a few miles outside of Inverness, I spotted a sign for a cafe in a little place called Daviot, which was off the beaten track, but was worth taking a look. For a coffee stop, so we saw a sign, went down a lane and ended up at the dairy at Daviot. So let's see what the dairy has to offer. Looks good so far. 2 cappuccinos and a custard tart slice, room for a couple of beautiful condition organs. That's worth a bob or two, I'll bet.
The quick coffee stop would keep us going till our planned lunch stop at a little town called Grantown-on-Spey.
Second pit stop of the day, Grantown-on-Spey. It's just started to rain, so we thought we might as well have a quick coffee stop at McLean's Highland Bakery and Coffee. My curry for lunch. Look at that.
It's a bit bigger than I thought.
Chicken curry and chips.
Chicken curry.
This is what I'm having. Little pie. Tatty pie. Welcome to the Cairngorms, folks. We're about 40 minutes from Ballater, deep in the heart of the Cairngorms. I've just missed a big rain shower that's passed through. It's really peaceful out here. The Cairngorms is the largest national park in the UK. It's twice the size of the Lake District. 5 of the UK's 6 highest mountains lie inside the park, alongside 55 Munros. And the Munro is a Scottish mountain that's over 3,000 feet.
few miles outside of Ballater, we came across the historic Bridge of Gairn. It was built following the 1745 Jacobite Rising to help improve army access to the Highlands. Sue enjoyed it so much, she had to go back and do it all over again. We've just arrived at our destination in Ballater. That is number 45. It's a B&B, and it looks pretty nice actually. It's in a lovely quiet town. We just had to wander down into town to suss out where we're going to have dinner tonight. So on the face of it, looks pretty good. So let's go and check out what the room's like. We're in number 7, which is nice and light. Lovely bed. At the front view. Let's catch our bikes down there as well. But the bathroom, lovely. Very clean. And it's even got a bath, which I'm going to jump in a minute to soak our tired muscles. Overall though, first impressions, what do you think?
It's gorgeous, really nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful place, and the little town's really lovely.
Clachan Grill tonight. So, yeah, first impressions, excellent. And of course, when Prince Charles wrote his famous book, The Old Man of Loftnagar, he was actually talking about a bloke who used to hang around this Indian brasserie. Anyway, enough of this levity. It's time for a beer in the Barrow Lounge. Let's try that.
I guess I kinda like the way you move, pink. Now the day bleeds, winter night goes, and you're not here to get me through it all. I'm in my goddamn.
Clachan Grill in Ballater. Nice roaring log burner.
The restaurant's through there, babe.
Yeah. It was a great recommendation, and if you're staying in Ballater and you like steak, this is the place to eat. Good morning folks, and welcome to day 8 of our trip. We wake up in a rather wet Ballater. It's just started to rain now. It rained overnight, but we had a cracking night last night. Went into town, had a couple of beers, some entertainment, and then went for a fantastic steak meal recommended by the owners of this fantastic B&B. Highly recommended, number 45, Ballater. If you're ever going to stay in Ballater, this is the place to be. Beautiful. Very clean, very comfortable. Anyway, today we are heading south to Edinburgh, which I'm looking forward to because I've never been there before. So it's we're having a 2-day stop over there, and then after that the Lake District and then home. So we're getting close to the end of our epic trip, which has been fantastic. Anyway, more importantly right now, breakfast. So this is breakfast at number 45. Morning we leave. Our route today was to take us through the rest of the beautiful Cairngorms, including Braemar and Glenshee, and then pretty much due south to Edinburgh. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't looking very promising. Braemar Castle in the pouring rain, and now I better get back before I get drenched. Braemar Castle is an almost perfect example of a Scottish fortified tower house, built in 1628 for the Earl of Mar, then burned in the Jacobite Rising of 1689 and rebuilt. The A93 Braemar Road, the highest A road in the UK, took us right through the Glenshee Ski Centre, which is the largest skiing resort in Scotland. And so we arrive in Edinburgh, and after the beauty and the rugged wilderness of the North Coast 500, it seemed quite strange actually to get back to city riding and the stop-start traffic. Edinburgh is obviously Scotland's capital, but I'd never been there before and didn't realise that apparently it has an old medieval town and an elegant new Georgian town. And of course you've got the castle, the home of Scotland's crown jewels and the Stone of Destiny. So there was obviously lots to see, so we're looking forward to exploring the city later on. We chose the Radisson Blu Hotel for a few reasons. I think they had a special deal on, but secondly, it was centrally located, and most importantly, it had an underground garage. Unfortunately, Edinburgh is becoming known as the bike theft capital of the UK. So if you're going to ride to Edinburgh, it's important you find a place to securely park your bikes. Heralded as the finest example of medieval architecture built in modern times, the Radisson Blu was designed and built to blend perfectly with the surrounding buildings that make up the old town. Though the building is relatively new, the ground it occupies is really old, and it's riddled with catacombs known as underground vaults. This structure was literally built on top of homes where hundreds of people died from the Black Plague.
Radisson Blu, and we got upgraded. Yeah, what you'd expect from Radisson Blu quality. Nice, clean, spacious, lovely bed, lots of areas to spread out. View over the Royal Mile and the High Street. All in all, well done Radisson Blu for upgrading us. Yeah, very nice. Just arrived. Sorts of places to drink. The Royal Mile pub. And now we're going to go exploring. The Scott Monument, which is 200 feet tall, was actually built to commemorate Sir Walter Scott, one of Scotland's greatest novelists. It's actually the largest monument to any writer anywhere in the world. So the obvious thing to do would be to stick a cone on top of Sir Walter Scott's head. So this looks like a likely spot. Offbeat people, breezer. Well, for choice, look at all these. I presume that would be using IPOs. I'm going to try this one. Thank you. It's a Dusky Bay. Greyfriar's Bobby was a Skye Terrier who became famous in the 19th century Edinburgh for spending 14 years guarding the grave of his owner until he died himself on 14th of January 1872. It's a story that's inspired several books and a film, and it's one of Edinburgh's most famous tourist attractions. So this is, we come from Italian. Susa did. This is a starter.
Decided to have a little garlic bread and squid. Thank you very much.
This is a starter. That's the starter portion. Garlic bread and calamari. No, we're probably waiting on this trip. After a thoroughly enjoyable couple of days in Edinburgh, next day we set off for our final leg of the trip down to the Lake District and the little town of Cockermouth. We left Edinburgh on the A701, heading towards Moffat and pick up the motorway, and we found out the road is closed here. So happily it was time for a coffee break anyway, and we came across this tiny little cafe. So we're going to have a quick coffee break here before heading off to get some more petrol, picking up the motorway. Let's see what kind of breakfast. Thank you. And here we are. That'll do nicely. Set you up for the day.
Cockermouth is an ancient market town in Cumbria. It is famous for its association with various historical people, notably the poet William Wordsworth and the mutineer Fletcher Christian, both of whom were born in or near the town. The hotel we were staying at in Cockermouth was the Trout Inn. With buildings dating back to the 1600s, it was actually once a favourite of Hollywood legend Bing Crosby.
So this is the Trout Inn, folks. Let's have a look at the room we've got here. Lovely, lovely room. New, modern, spacious, got a bath, and tub and a shower. Even smells like it's new. It's probably quite a modern hotel. Nice big double bed, king size, on the ground floor with a view overlooking the river. Perfect. What could be better? And later on we will sample the ales. Afternoon, folks, on a beautiful sunny afternoon. What day is it today?
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday, day 10 officially. We left Edinburgh this morning for our final stop over in the Lake District, and now we're going to wander off and find Wordsworth Museum.
Happily, the Wordsworth Museum was right next door to the hotel. Wordsworth House is a Georgian townhouse. It was built in the mid-18th century, and Wordsworth was born in the house in 1770, but the truth is he was only there for a few years, so most of his life was spent at Dove Cottage in the Lake District. But still, it was next door, so it was worth having a look around.